It's a huge risk giving up a full-time job to try to make a living from property development. This week I'm meeting two developers from opposite ends of the country who have done just that. They've both found what they think is the ideal development, a small rundown terrace in Salisbury and a worn-out old bungalow in Leeds. And while both developments could be profitable, they've got some of the strangest ideas I've heard in a long time.
I don't think it's anything that anybody could look at and go, that's horrible.
The other thing I was thinking about, which I've seen, is some textured wallpaper, which is designed to go over wood chip, apparently. I've seen that as well.
For first-time developers, a small project is a really wise idea, as long as you remember not to try to cram every design idea you've ever had inside its 4 small walls. But when you've just escaped from a job you're bored of, like John Jessup in Leeds and Catherine Church in Salisbury, it's easy to get carried away on your first development. Like thousands of other IT professionals before her, Catherine wants a more creative job. So she's jacked in her desk job and monthly paycheck, and she's taking her chances in property. Herself and partner John want to transform this, a tiny terraced house, which they aim to turn into a unique designer home for a trendy young professional.
This house will have a large, airy, spacious, beautiful, open-plan living area with a fantastically designed kitchen. And I think people won't even need to go upstairs before deciding to buy this house.
Catherine is nothing if not confident, but what she doesn't realise is that just having a grand vision won't necessarily get her the quick sale she needs. The market in Salisbury has levelled off recently, and properties are now taking an average of 12 weeks to get an offer. John and Catherine bought the house for £148,000. They plan to spend only £17,500, which includes £4,000 of fees. They think they'll sell it for £180,000, making them a £14,500 gross profit. That's a 9% return, which is half what they should be aiming for. And even that depends on them breaking the local ceiling price on terraced houses, which is a really bad starting point.
Hi, I'm Sarah. Hello.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Oh, look at this. Teeny, teeny, teeny terrace.
I know.
Yes. How exciting. And this is your first development?
It is, yes, yeah.
And so why this house?
We looked at this as a first commercial project, really. We just want to get it done, turn around and...
Cut our teeth on it, nothing too scary for the first time. I had a bit of a vision for the property. It's quite dark, and I could just see bringing lots of light in and turning it into a lovely place to live.
Right, and by the looks of it, you already are living here at the moment.
Yes,
so you're going to stay here during the development?
Yes, yeah, we are. We're, might be a bit foolish, but, yes.
Let's have a look at what your plans are.
Right. Great, come in.
This is a traditional 2 up, 2 down. Upstairs there are 2 bedrooms, and downstairs there's a small sitting room at the front and a second living area and kitchen to the back, and a small bathroom in the rear extension. But a downstairs bathroom doesn't fit in at all with Catherine's creative vision for the house.
So let's talk plans.
Well, this area is where the major changes are going to happen. This area here is going to be turned into a bathroom, and here we'll have the stairs going up into the loft conversion.
So you're losing this bedroom and turning it into a bathroom, and then having the second bedroom up in the loft conversion.
And in order to bring in light into what would otherwise be a very dark corridor, we're planning to have a glass wall down the side of the bathroom.
Catherine and John seem to be focusing more on the look rather than the value of the house. They plan to rip out the downstairs bathroom in order to have a trendy open-plan kitchen living area with French doors onto the garden, which isn't a bad idea. But moving the bathroom upstairs means losing the second bedroom, as this is the only place it could possibly fit. It will be small, and rather worryingly, they're planning a glass wall, which is not great for privacy. They also have to squeeze in a set of stairs for the second bedroom, now to be in the tiny loft, and they want a dormer window in here to give this room enough head height. But the fact that they can't afford to do any of this work seems to have completely passed them by.
our plans are going to make the house different because it will be flooded with light and it will be very airy and it will stand out hugely from anything that's available to buy in the area.
My concern is that on a budget of £17,500, which has got to include all your legal costs, buying costs, selling costs, you've got some quite grand plans, which would be lovely done, I've no doubt, but it's a question of whether the market that you're trying to appeal to requires them and whether you're able to actually do that work within that budget and still end up making a profit.
We have priced it very carefully, and yeah, we do feel that we can do everything on that budget.
But there's no room for manoeuvre in there. It's all very tight at the moment.
I mean, it seems to me that the biggest expense is the fact that you are planning a loft conversion. All you're really achieving by doing the loft conversion is getting the bathroom upstairs. And my question mark is, do you need to have a bathroom upstairs?
I personally wouldn't buy a house with a downstairs bathroom, however nice the house was and however nice the bathroom was.
I think you'd be better off leaving the bathroom downstairs and doing a really good refurbishment of the house. A lot of the houses around here don't have an upstairs bathroom, and I think people, although they'd prefer it, they won't expect it necessarily.
But
it's preferable,
yeah.
They don't expect it.
So, you know, why not exceed their expectations?
Because it's going to cost you an awful lot more money because you have to do a loft conversion that way.
Although it might seem dull, the best way to add value here is to do a quick and easy cosmetic refurbishment and get the house back on the market as soon as possible. But there's no holding back Catherine's creative urges, and it takes her no time at all to dismiss the idea. Having made up her mind, she's sticking to her guns.
A lot of the ideas we've had have been ideas of things that we'd like to do, and in a way, the house that we would like to live in. Just redecorating and putting it back on the market would be horribly dull. It would be really boring, and I don't think you'd be getting the potential out of this house, and I think there's bags of potential to turn this into a gorgeous home.
Gorgeous it might be, but profitable it won't. It's crazy to see property developing as a way of satisfying a need to be artistic. Like any business, it's about one thing and one thing only, and that's profit. They need to stop personalising and start capitalising on their investment. 250 miles north outside Leeds, John Jessup has also taken the plunge. Undaunted by his lack of relevant experience, he's given up his day job in search of something more fulfilling.
I just wanted to do something completely different and take control of my own life and work for myself. So it really is quite important that this works for me and that I make some money on it. Otherwise, I'm going to be in some difficulty later.
John thinks his business plan is foolproof. Leeds, unlike Salisbury, currently has a more buoyant market, with properties getting an offer on average within 6 weeks of being put on the market. What's more, his property is in a good central location. It's a decent size with 2 bedrooms, but he's got some grand ideas to convert this bungalow into a 2-storey, 4-bedroom family home. So how did you get to this point?
Well, I gave up my job, first and foremost, last year. I gave up my career completely, in fact.
And what was your career?
I was a registered financial advisor, and I'm now subsequently selling my own home to finance this project even further.
Gosh, right, so you've given up everything. You've given up your career.
Yes.
Sold your home, and...
Given up the career, given up drink, given up everything.
You've given up drink?
Well, possibly.
You need to take that up again, won't
not.
you?
I think I'll need to, actually.
So you've given up everything to become a property developer?
Yeah, if you want to put it that way, yeah. I see it as a step forward rather than a step backwards, though. I regard it as a positive rather than a negative, but yeah, I have given up quite a lot.
So.
Absolutely.
John's got a lot riding on this development. He spent the last 5 months and £7,500 getting planning permission for 2 more bedrooms in the loft and a large kitchen extension at the back of the house. He bought his bungalow for £220,000. He's budgeted £80,000 for the work, and he's hoping to sell for £330,000, making him a £30,000 gross profit. Bungalows can sometimes be a good idea to develop into a larger home because they often stand on large plots big enough for a family garden. But these developments are rarely worth as much as a house with the same number of bedrooms. He might have been a financial advisor, but his own business plan seems to be full of holes.
It is a lot of work that you're planning on doing, and my only question mark would be, as a development, is this the best solution for this house and the plot of land it's on? The better solution, I think, for this would be to refurbish the bungalow as it is. Have it as a standard 2-bedroom bungalow, and you can make it the best bungalow it can possibly be.
By keeping this as a straightforward refurb, it will take John a third of the time to do and earn him the same profit. And although the back garden is a little big for this bungalow, he could look into selling it to one of the neighbours, which would be more money in the bank. But the question is, will financial advisor John take my financial advice?
I'm so far down with it now that the planning permission's taken weeks, the builders have taken weeks to organise, they're starting in a couple of weeks' time. They may be wise words, and it may be that I'll come to regret it, but I'm going to get on and do it as I originally planned.
It's your house.
Absolutely.
And it's his money. I think John is about to spend thousands of pounds he doesn't have to. And so are Catherine and John in Salisbury, indulging a passion for creativity that could completely destroy their profit. But Catherine is convinced her grand vision will earn a premium.
I don't think it's anything that anybody could look at and go, that's horrible. But, you know, we'll see. Hopefully that'll be worth its weight in gold.
Catherine Church likes the idea of being a property developer. She's got loads of creative ideas for this tiny terrace in Salisbury. She aims to turn bedrooms into bathrooms, lofts into bedrooms, put in trendy portholes and glass walls, but it's all a huge waste of money. Their plan to move the bathroom upstairs means they will lose a bedroom on the first floor, so they need to claw it back by creating an extra bedroom in the loft. But you can barely stand up in here. This bedroom will only work if they install a dormer window to create the necessary head height. But although they're already in week 2, they haven't yet checked out with the council about the dormer. It's crucial to their plans, so Catherine has finally gone to ask about permission.
I'm really disappointed. We've just been told that there's really very little chance that planning permission for a flat roof dormer would be granted in the area. We'll need to think of something else to do with the loft, and it's tempting to just think do nothing. We can't do that, and we're not going to do that.
Without a dormer, the loft will make a really unsatisfactory bedroom. But Catherine is going to go ahead anyway. And she doesn't seem to think that it will push their budget over the edge. At the moment, John and Catherine have got just £4,000 for all their labour. £7,100 put aside for their materials, including the new kitchen and bathroom, and £1,500 for decorating. They've got £4,400 for professional fees and £500 contingency, bringing their build budget to just £17,500. Whilst I admire their creativity, if they'd just left the bathroom downstairs, they'd save money and therefore make the same, if not more, profit. Modernising a house doesn't have to mean moving a bathroom.
Now, the bathroom in this house is downstairs, and I'm hoping to persuade you that this is a good solution for your house. To move the bathroom upstairs and do the loft extension, you're talking about having to move floors around, strengthen the floors that are there, you'll have to put Veluxes in, put a staircase in, move walls around. You've got a lot of added expense, and actually, by the time you've spent all the money doing that, you'll probably find that there's not really any extra profit in it.
We're not making a huge amount more money by moving the bathroom upstairs, and profit remains pretty much unchanged. But having said that, we have a vision for the house. We have the house that we want to make out of what we bought, and that definitely includes the bathroom upstairs.
But if you're not going to make that much more profit, I mean, is this for you to live in the house, or is this a business?
We're using this as a sort of first-time development. We're hoping to sell it as soon as it's ready to go on the market. You know, we're not anticipating living there.
So if you're not going to make any more...
We will make some
profit.
We will make more profit, but not double it, for example.
Well, I think you should really seriously reconsider, because you're going to end up with 2 very small bedrooms and a small bathroom for an awful lot of work converting the upstairs, and then end up with enormous quantities of living space, which is going to make the house very bottom heavy.
Well, we're going to have to agree to disagree on that one, because we are determined. We're going to move the bathroom upstairs. The advice we've had concurs with what we think, so we're going to steam on ahead.
And they do steam on ahead. They plough on with the loft, but although they're set on the upstairs bathroom, they're not sure how it will actually fit in.
Distance to the bathroom, this is the internal wall,
That's
isn't it?
the internal wall.
So it's 160 from that wall. Bath to there.
That's going to be
too tight, isn't it? What about perhaps putting a corner bath in with a shower over it or something?
We wanted a separate shower.
I know we wanted a separate shower cubicle, but that's not usable space, and it would just be horrible. It would look cluttered, it would look crowded.
So we're going corner bath?
I think so. I think it's a better option.
Okay, all right, let's do that.
Putting a corner bath in a modern development is a terrible idea. I've got to talk them out of
Have a
it.
shower.
I've heard you're having a corner bath.
Yeah, well...
Well, we're sort of thinking about it, because the option...
Don't think for long. It's a terrible idea. If you're a tall, they're hopeless to get in. They use an enormous amount of hot water up, so they're very, very ecologically unsound. And they look a bit... They're all plastic.
What we really wanted was a shower cubicle in the far corner there.
Yeah.
And then a bath here. But there just wouldn't have been enough usable space between the bath and the shower cubicle, so we've got to compromise on that choice.
This is going to sound really weird, but I did bring a bath with me today because I wanted to put the bath in the space to show you how you could lay out the bathroom. It should be here. Oops. So that you have the bath here, loo next door to it on the wall there, basin here, and then you have the door here opening this way, and then you have plenty of room for a shower in front of you.
I
Wow.
hadn't even thought about that layout.
Wow.
What do you reckon?
I think
Much better.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh
Sounds
my
bad.
word, that's
I think
the
that's
word I
brilliant.
like. Brilliant, brilliant.
I think that's such a good idea.
Yeah.
John and Catherine have had a lucky escape here. They shouldn't really have even started on the loft before finalising the bathroom layout. With the upstairs taken care of, Catherine turns her attention to downstairs. And this is the moment she's been waiting for, ripping out the old bathroom.
Fantastic. I'm going to pull it out of that. We've been waiting to do this since the project began, really. This has been the bit I've really been looking forward to, because we started off with the idea of opening this room out, so this is fantastic.
And by the end of the day, Catherine's creative vision for the development is starting to take shape. But changing the layout in a development is pointless unless it will really add value. 250 miles north, just outside Leeds, John Jessup seems a bit more open to change than Catherine. And putting his financial advisor's background to good use, he's done some basic maths. Finally, he's realised that his idea of turning his bungalow into a 2-storey house just won't get him the profit he wants. So he's ditching the idea.
I think it's sensible to go ahead with the renovation as a bungalow and keep it as a bungalow. It's been hard work thinking about it, really, but now the decision's made, I'm very enthusiastic. I want to get on with it.
So far, so good, except that as well as cutting back on his plans and his schedule, John's also slashed his budget. Way too much. And here his maths seem to have let him down. John thinks he can stretch £12,000 to not only update the decor, kitchen and bathroom, but also knock through the kitchen and dining room, put French doors in at the back of the house and landscape the back and front gardens. By my calculations, all this building work would cost nearer £20,000, but John's come up with a cunning money-saving plan that's all too familiar.
What I've decided is that a lot of the basic building work I could do myself rather than pay somebody to do it. And I think if I do that, I'll have a better chance of hitting the 12,000 budget. But it's not being done on the cheap at all. There'll be no compromise in terms of quality here.
Famous last words, and I'm not convinced.
Hi Sarah, come
Hi.
in. My footing on the rubble. Welcome to my
Got all changed. I think it's very brave taking on this project yourself. But are you quite good and quite interested in DIY and
Oh God, yeah.
that kind of thing?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think one of the reasons I got into wanting to get into this property developing in the first place was because I've always been tinkering with DIY. Now, this is a different scale and a different level, but hopefully there's a bit of aptitude there.
I just think that A, you need to make sure that you don't cut any corners and you have a superb finish, which is absolutely essential. And B, you need to make sure that it doesn't take longer than it would have taken with someone else doing it by you doing it.
Understood. I'm hoping that I'm competent enough to do the job relatively quickly. I will take a little bit longer than a skilled person would, but not substantially longer. Yeah, essentially.
But speed isn't my biggest worry here. This house needs a lot of modernising, and that takes dedication. I noticed that the whole room is covered in wood chip.
The whole room.
Yes. That's going to be hard, John, cutting this off.
I'm going to leave it for the most part on the walls. The main reason, I'll be honest, is that if I start taking this off, I know that a lot of the plasterwork is going to cause me a problem underneath, and I'll end up with a room like the dining room when I'm down to the brickwork again, and I really do not want to go to the time and trouble with that.
What about this corner here? You've got a bit missing.
Yeah, there's a bit missing which will have to be patched up, certainly. Only to the corner.
So you'll
And then I'll leave the wall plain.
splice in a bit of wood chip there?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You're joking, aren't
That's
you?
the plan at the moment, yeah.
But you're modernising the house, you're not sticking it together with bits of glue. It's meant to be a modernised house, that's the whole point.
I know, but I think walking into the kitchen, in the end, it will be barely noticeable, seriously. The other thing I was thinking about, which I've seen, is some textured wallpaper, which is designed to go over wood chip, apparently. I've seen that as well.
They're
So.
adding insult to injury there.
Well,
you can't cover it up with more layers of cover-up. Why don't you just do the right job and take the wood chip off, replaster the wall where it needs replastering.
Everywhere.
And then, yeah. I'm amazed that John can't see that this wood chip has no place in a newly modernised home. You can see how easily it's coming off, and this is what I think you should be doing.
Yeah, a bit more work. As long as I don't have to have the walls totally plastered, that's the main thing.
I think the problem is you can't guarantee you won't have to need plastering, but if they need plastering, they need plastering, and you have to do it. But John doesn't want to know, so wood chip it is.
I can't see anybody walking into the house and thinking this is a fantastic kitchen, but it's got a bit of wood chip here, so we're not going to buy it. It's possible to take a whole house right back to all the brickwork and start again from scratch. Yeah, and you can do that with every property. But I'm simply not prepared to do that here because I don't think it would be time and money well invested.
It's true you should aim for minimum investment and maximum return, but you won't get any sort of return with a poor finish. John is in serious danger of cutting a corner too far. Back in Salisbury, Catherine is doing the opposite, heading for maximum investment for minimum return, so she can create a unique designer property.
Come on through, you'll see some changes.
Excellent.
All the walls have come out, and I just really see what I saw when I first walked into the house, and what we wanted to achieve was this massive, big, open, airy room. So it's really exciting.
Do you have any other plans for this room? Or is
Well,
this it?
the last bit that was part of the original plan was the porthole window, which is here. There we go,
Right.
and that's going to be placed round about here. There we are. So Again, that'll bring light in both to this space here, to the stairway, and also into this room, which I still feel is slightly dark.
I think if you're trying to get light into this room, you can achieve that with the right lighting and right decoration, and you'll make it lighter and brighter than you would by having a porthole in.
In terms of the porthole, I think it will add. I really do think it will add. It's not essential. It's not essential, so I suppose on that basis you could say it's a luxury. But we are trying to bridge that gap between country cottage and something more funky and modern.
The only thing I'm wondering is whether you're trying to kind of shoehorn lots of cool ideas into the development that you happen to be doing. And this is a little terrace in a little lane in Salisbury. It's not a loft house.
I did think about that and think, am I going one step too far? But we're looking to, and I did consider it, but I think we're looking to break a price barrier really here.
Once again, Catherine and I simply don't agree. And as it's her house, she forges ahead regardless.
I think Sarah's misgiving was that would it actually add overall to the profit we're going to make on the house, and I don't know that we can tell that yet. I don't think it's anything that anybody could come in and take a violent disliking to, and I think it adds to it, but I suppose this is the one thing where it's probably taste over complete necessity.
The problem is, I'm not sure Catherine's taste will be her buyer's taste. Upstairs, she's made some even stranger decisions. Glass blocks are totally inappropriate for this house, and even more so for a bathroom. So after 6 weeks, Catherine's got the look she wants, but they've now got to put the house back together. And they're living in the middle of it all, making it even harder work.
This is the bedroom. This is the sleeping area, should I say.
So you sleep under this?
Yeah. We literally take all the dust sheets off and go to sleep.
You've got no ceiling and they're doing a loft conversion while you're sleeping underneath.
It's not ideal. It really isn't ideal.
It's horrendous. You must be mad.
Well, I'm beginning to think that, actually. I knew it would be a mess.
Is it worse than you expected?
Yes.
If you live on site, I think it makes the building work take longer because the builders don't have a free rein to just gut the place. You spend so much time moving your stuff around and cleaning behind you. If this ends up being a career long term, I think you should really think about living elsewhere.
I certainly would. I certainly would.
Whilst Catherine's already finding it hard living on site, they're only halfway through and things aren't about to get any better.
Everything is a mess and everything is just hard work. It's always a chore getting up in the morning.
It's bloody hard and we won't do it again.
Eight weeks into their development, John and Catherine have totally gutted their cottage in Salisbury. Catherine is now having to put the house back together. And she's realising that project managing a development is more about being organised
3x2 timber
than about being creative.
meters in length.
But however hard it is for Catherine, at least it's her only job. John is still working full-time during the day to help pay the bills and mortgage, and labouring on site every evening.
This last week I have found it really, really tough. Initially, when I would come back in the evenings and do this, it was like fantastic, big hammers and bish bash bosh. But as things have gone on and I haven't had evenings off, it just gets so tiresome. You know, I get fed up with having to do a whole day at work and then come back here and do some more work.
They're now 2 weeks behind schedule. If they had done a simple refurbishment, the house would be done and on the market by now. But John and Catherine can't see the wood from the trees anymore. Maybe I can help Catherine focus. One of the things people find very difficult when they're starting to develop is to work out when they should be looking for the next project. And this is the perfect time for you to be looking for your next project, because you're putting the house back together, you're on the homeward straight, and now you should be really making a very good assessment as to what the next plan is. The sort of house that I think that you should be looking at is like this one, which this house could be a simple refurbishment job, which should make them up to £15,000. So, what do you reckon? Is this the kind of house that you would consider buying?
Absolutely. This is perfect. This is much more traditional development property than the one we started with, because the decor is just so tired, and structurally, apart from, you know, a couple of bits in the bathroom there and possibly putting an ensuite upstairs, there really isn't a huge amount to do.
Would you put the bathroom upstairs in this development?
I don't think I'd move a whole bathroom upstairs, no. But I think it would be important to put a loo or something upstairs.
In an ideal world, but it just depends on the market around here. And I think that the market around here doesn't need an upstairs bathroom. It needs up 3 bedrooms upstairs to get its maximum value. And I think that what you should be thinking about doing with your developments is nice, easy, standard refurbishments where you don't have to get involved in structural work. You can get a format that works. You can turn 2 or 3, maybe 4 over a year. Don't get too carried away, because it is tempting to get carried away. And this house just shows that actually there's nothing wrong with it as it is. It just needs bringing up to date. Although it might seem boring, sometimes you simply can't afford to be creative just for the sake of it. In a floundering market, you won't make any extra profit with unnecessary and expensive frills. In Leeds, ex-financial advisor John Jessup has taken this idea a little too literally. He doesn't think it's worth spending any money on frills of any sort, and is running the risk of this turning into a bit of a botch job.
I'm aiming for a high-quality finish, and I'm confident I can achieve that. I've done enough sort of finishes in a DIY capacity to know that you need the look to be right.
But knowing it and doing it are two different things. John is keeping his fingers crossed that he can achieve that finish on no money. So he's hunted down freebies and bargains, but some of them are frankly just not good enough to give an impressive end result.
The vertical height of the opening is higher than I actually imagined, and to me it looks like that might be too high for a standard gas fire. And I'm thinking that maybe I should have had a look at that before I put it in. But anyway, if it's a problem, I think rather than mess around with it, I'll put a really nice electric fire in there. On that basis, what I've done is actually drill through the chimney wall here, so we can feed an electric cable through here. When I drilled the hole through the chimney breast, the drill came out on the far side, and the fire back there, it was quite old, so it's actually broken some of it away at the bottom, so that will need to be repaired.
John should have just spent the money and got the right fireplace fitted. Then there wouldn't be a gap in the top, a hole in the side of the wall, nor a crumbling back to the fire. So before John goes any further, I need to try to rein in his bargain hunting.
Well, I've got hold of a really contemporary basin, you know, one of the round glass bowl ones.
Oh God, you don't want to do that. Do you?
I was thinking
clearly
about
do
it.
want
No,
to
I was
do that.
thinking about it. I was thinking about it, having a modern look rather than a traditional look.
Well, I think you need to think about your market here. Would a retired couple want a glass bowl sink?
I think that's a valid point, and it's something that I was giving some thought to. I'm trying to tie lever this really nice looking bowl into a house that probably it's not right for, because I've picked it up for next to nothing.
Yes.
So I'm going to try to save on cost. And,
yeah, I'd give it a miss. I mean, glass bowl sinks were very fashionable about coming now. They're everywhere, but they are of the moment, and anything of the moment will be of yesterday. A glass bowl sink is totally inappropriate, free or not. Fortunately, a week later, he's taken my advice and put in a more traditional suite, but he got it in a sale and oops, the loo doesn't fit. The soil pipe is the wrong height, but rather than moving it or fitting a boxed-in cistern, John takes a different approach and leaves a rather large gap.
I don't think that looks bad from here.
But the gap behind the loo is the least of my worries.
I really should have done this before I got the toilet in, you know. I don't want to make a mess everywhere.
And I thought John was confident with his finishes, but standards are slipping here because he's trying to save every penny he can. No matter how buoyant your local market is, you should never rely on it to sell your property. A bad finish will always let you down. 250 miles south, Catherine has been thinking about her developing strategy. This development is taking longer than planned, and at this rate she'll be lucky to get 2 properties done a year, which won't earn her the living she wants. And the idea of doing quick fix turnarounds doesn't appeal either, so she's had a huge rethink.
I've decided to go back to work because, having seen that property with Sarah, I could see how it would be perfect for redevelopment, absolutely perfect. But what it needed was a kind of like once-over, really. And for me, that's not going to be challenging enough, just in terms of being able to put my stamp onto it. So, and that's not what it's about. It's not about that. It is about applying the formula, doing a quick turnover, in and out, back on the market. And I don't think that's really what I'm looking for as a full-time job.
But Catherine was supposed to be project managing the development, and you can't expect a job to run itself. It's week 12 and things have slowed right down. Catherine can now see just how hard it is to juggle work with developing.
At this point in time, I feel as though we're almost going backwards. Not one room is any closer to completion. There's still jobs to be done absolutely all over the place. Right now, I don't think we'll be done in 2 years. But no, yeah, I don't think we'll be done in a fortnight.
I reckon we'll be done in a fortnight. It'll all come screaming together to a fantastic finale.
Right, well, we'll be done in a fortnight.
But a fortnight later, it's still not finished. The pressure of her new job means that Catherine is less flexible, so it's up to John to get the job done. He's ended up calling in his mum and dad to help with the finishing touches. He's still remaining positive and now reckons the house is worth an extra £10,000.
Everything's really coming together well now. I would like to see us putting this on the market for around £190,000. The features that we have put in are an asset. They're a good selling point. But whether they're worth that £10,000 extra, I don't know. We feel they are.
They're pinning their hopes on exceeding local ceiling prices for the area. A risky strategy.
You're clearly not over the moon.
No.
Four months ago, this tiny terrace in Salisbury was a decorative disaster. Now it's completely changed beyond recognition.
Hi, how are you? Hiya. God, this is amazing.
And at last, after 16 grueling weeks, the house is finally finished. The downstairs bathroom has gone, and in its place, the open-plan kitchen living area that Catherine had dreamed of, complete with her porthole. Upstairs, what was a good-sized double bedroom is now the new modern bathroom and stairway to the attic. They've stuck to my layout and have got both a separate shower and full-sized bath in here. But nothing will convince me a glass bathroom wall is a good idea in this development. Having an upstairs bathroom has come at a price.
It is quite limited head height, actually, up here, isn't it? So, I mean, you don't have that much of the room you can walk around in.
I don't think I would want to have this as my everyday bedroom, but we were quite specific in who we were targeting the house at, and it was a professional couple who would need this as a guest bedroom for weekends.
There's always a compromise with limited space. You get something and you take something away. And what you've got here is you've got the bathroom upstairs, but what you haven't got anymore is a good-sized second bedroom. So that's the deal, really.
Yeah.
Although some of their ideas are a little too personal, there's no doubting the quality.
You were going to spend 17,500, weren't you? Do you know how much you came in at in the end?
We spent £25,000, but that was a choice that we made by putting better kit in, you know, better kitchen, better carpet.
I have to say, I think it's pretty impressive to do this for 25. I thought 17.5 was so low, and 25 is I mean, hats off to you for doing it for that. John and Catherine's labour cost inevitably rose from £4,000 to £5,500. Their materials went up to £13,260. Decorating came in just £77 over, and fees went up to £4,634. This means their total spend leapt up by 43% to just under £25,000. The question mark comes where does the cost of doing those things mean that you make any extra money, or is the cost of those things, are you doing it for fun? And if it's your home, then that's really cool. But I think if it's a business, you have to work out whether it actually stacks up.
I just feel that what we've done here has been the right choice. Hopefully the figures will reflect that.
They made the choice to spend more in order to get the look they were after, but I'm not sure it will mean that they'll get the £190,000 valuation they want.
Oh wow, no, that looks absolutely lovely.
Not sure about the glass box for privacy.
And they've got the separate shower cubes, or that's what we like to see.
Have a slight problem with the head height. It needs a limited amount of space to move around in.
I'm sure these are lovely views, if you can get there.
I believe this property should achieve £180,000.
I would value this property at £179,000.
I think the property's worth £180,000.
I've had 3 agents round and they've come in at an average of £180,000. How do you feel about that?
I would have liked to have seen that figure be slightly higher.
It's Salisbury, isn't it? I suppose people have no taste.
You would make £7,000 profit if you did sell at that sort of level.
Woohoo.
Is that really not worth it?
It's hardly worth all the time and effort.
You're clearly not over the moon about a £7,000 profit over 4 months.
No.
Financially, it would have stacked up better if you'd done a straightforward refurbishment.
All I can say is a good job I've gone back to work.
But even a £7,000 gross profit is dependent on finding a buyer.
It's a lot lighter than I thought it was going to be. I'm not sure on the porthole.
That's more light.
It is, isn't it? Although, can you be seen when you're sitting in the bath?
It just makes me feel a bit claustrophobic up here.
This is cosy. It's a good job I'm not 7'6", though.
And a nice walk-in shower as well, which is totally enclosed. It's good.
Does tick most of the boxes, yeah, I can imagine myself here quite comfortably.
The top floor bedroom just lets it down for me.
If you turn back the clock to the beginning of this project, would you do the same again, or would you have done a simple refurbishment?
I think a simple refurbishment. You're not so sure?
No, I don't know. Even though it's been a commercial disaster, I think that's fair to say. Financially, it's not been the wisest move I've ever made. But even so, I've just enjoyed doing it so much that I would probably do this one the same, but I don't think I'd approach another one in the same way. We would not do this amount of work for £7,000.
Fortunately in Leeds, John Jessup is still loving his new career. And after 16 weeks hard graft, his bungalow is also finally finished. It's taken 2 months longer than he'd hoped, but the result is very beige. However, this 2-bedroom bungalow does look fresh and modern. And the open-plan kitchen diner will certainly appeal to his target retirement market.
I'm pleased with the end result. I think it has turned out probably better than what I'd hoped, really.
Amazingly, John's final spend has come in at £13,000, just £1,000 over budget. But I think it shows. There's still plenty of wood chip everywhere, and instead of the badly fitted slate surround, there's a wooden mantle but no electric fire. The shower door doesn't close. There are areas where the paint looks messy. And although the garden looks neat and low maintenance, he's fenced off one half and just left it.
I look around the house and I see minor cosmetic issues that could have been addressed if you wanted the house to be 100% perfect. But I frankly don't think any house is 100% perfect.
John is hoping for at least £270,000 for the bungalow, but as usual, this depends on the agents.
This is a lovely room. It's nice and light, very neutral.
On the surface, it looks very nice.
The finish isn't perhaps 100%, a little bit uneven.
I think that's a bit on the cheap side, really, doing that.
Wood chip's not perhaps fantastic.
This is nice, actually. I quite like this.
I will put a value on this property of around £265,000.
I would value this property at £270,000.
The average valuation is £267,500, which is great news for John. It's a good return for all his hard work, but I do think he's also been quite lucky and has certainly benefited from the high demand for bungalows in the area. John bought the bungalow for £220,000. His development cost him only £13,000, but he also has £18,000 of fees incurred over the last 9 months. If John does manage to sell at £267,500, he will stand to make a £16,500 gross profit. But spread over the 9 months he's owned the property, he'll have made only £1,800 a month, which works out as the same monthly return as John and Catherine. But John has no regrets. He's hoping to continue on his new career path.
Ideally, it would have been nice to sort of walk away with, say, 20,000 or so on this, and not the sort of 16 or 17 that's anticipated. And in the end, I might get 20,000 or more from it. I just put this down to experience, and I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I just take it and get on with it.
Unlike John Jessup, Catherine has decided that property developing is not the right full-time career for her. However, the couple are considering doing it as a sideline. I only hope they'll think twice next time about throwing a lot of design into a commercial development.
Both John Jessup and John and Catherine have realised that developing is not about stuffing as many ideas as possible into a property in the hope that it'll be worth more, but it's about keeping it simple, having a realistic budget and creating a good quality end product. Only if you get these things right will you have a successful career in property development.
Unfortunately, 2 months on, John's bungalow remains unsold, and John and Catherine have decided not to put their house on the market yet.